Just when it seemed Prince Andrew's reputation could not sink any lower, a bizarre new development has placed him back in the headlines once again. The Duke of York, already under police investigation and largely absent from public life, has retreated to a quiet farmhouse on the Sandringham estate. But now, just a few hundred yards from the cottage where he is staying, large piles of manure have appeared on the land nearby. To locals, the smell is unmistakable. And given the controversy surrounding Andrew, the symbolism has not gone unnoticed. For many observers, the scene feels almost surreal. A disgraced royal under investigation, isolated on a country estate, with the unmistakable scent of manure hanging in the air nearby. But the strange optics are only a small part of a much larger story. The real drama began last week when Prince Andrew was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Police confirmed that the 66-year-old royal spent 11 hours in custody during questioning. The timing could hardly have been worse. The arrest reportedly took place on his birthday, guaranteeing global headlines and renewed scrutiny of a figure who has spent years trying to escape controversy. After questioning, Andrew was released while the investigation continues. Importantly, he has not been formally charged with any crime. Still, the allegations behind the investigation are deeply serious and have revived questions that many believed had already damaged his public standing beyond repair. According to reports, investigators are examining claims linked to Andrew's former role as the United Kingdom's trade envoy between 2001 and 2011. During that time, it is alleged that sensitive information may have been shared with financier Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein, whose network of powerful associates shocked the world, died in a New York jail in 2019 while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. Prince Andrew's association with Epstein has haunted him for years. The infamous 2019 BBC interview, in which Andrew attempted to defend the friendship, was widely seen as disastrous. Soon after that interview aired, he stepped back from official royal duties and effectively disappeared from the front line of royal life. Now, the resurfacing of the Epstein connection has once again placed Andrew under intense scrutiny, and police say the investigation remains ongoing. Following his release from custody, Prince Andrew was photographed leaving a police station in Norfolk, slouched in the backseat of a car, avoiding the cameras as best he could. From there, he disappeared from public view entirely. His destination was Wood Farm, a farmhouse located on the Sandringham estate in Norfolk. Wood Farm is a far more modest residence than Andrew's previous home, the sprawling Royal Lodge in Windsor where he lived for many years. The farmhouse has 5 bedrooms and carries its own history within the royal family. It was the place where Prince Philip spent much of his retirement and eventually his final days. Sandringham itself is privately owned by King Charles III, making Andrew's presence there particularly notable. Since arriving at Wood Farm, there have been no confirmed public sightings of the prince. Then came the development that has caught the attention of locals and tabloids alike. Around 10 days before Andrew moved into Wood Farm, workers were reportedly seen unloading large quantities of manure from a tractor and trailer onto nearby land. The piles were placed roughly 200 yards from the house. On rural estates, this is not unusual. Manure is commonly used to fertilize soil and support the growth of newly planted trees. In fact, reports suggest the material was being used as part of a routine effort to help new plantings flourish on the estate. Anyone familiar with countryside estate management would recognize this as standard agricultural practice. But given the circumstances surrounding Andrew's return to Sandringham, the timing has prompted plenty of commentary. One local resident reportedly joked that there has been a whiff of scandal around Andrew for years, so perhaps it is fitting that he is now surrounded by the smells of the countryside. Another observer pointed out that because King Charles privately owns the Sandringham estate, he ultimately oversees what happens on the land there. Whether coincidence or simply routine agricultural work, the optics have proven difficult to ignore. In a situation already filled with controversy, even ordinary countryside maintenance has become part of the narrative surrounding Andrew's fall from prominence. More surprising, however, are the reports about the strict rules now governing Andrew's life at Wood Farm. According to several newspapers, the prince is currently living under tight restrictions while the investigation continues. Sources claim he is not allowed to go horse riding, an activity he once enjoyed regularly while living at Royal Lodge. At first glance, that might seem like a small detail, but for Andrew, horse riding was a frequent pastime, and he was often photographed doing it during his years as a working royal. During an active police investigation, however, such public appearances could be viewed as inappropriate. Reports also claim Andrew cannot leave the Sandringham estate without permission and supervision. Any visitors must reportedly be approved in advance as well. In effect, the lifestyle of a once high-profile royal representative has been replaced by something far quieter and far more restricted. Meanwhile, investigators have been busy elsewhere. Thames Valley Police confirmed that searches at Royal Lodge, Andrew's former residence, recently concluded after several days. Authorities have not revealed exactly what investigators examined inside the property. They have simply stated that inquiries are continuing. At the same time, government ministers have agreed to release documents related to Andrew's tenure as trade envoy. However, some of those files will remain confidential until police determine that publishing them would not interfere with their ongoing investigation. The decision suggests that the story may still have further developments ahead. The political reaction has also been unusually direct. During a debate in the House of Commons, Trade Minister Sir Chris Bryant delivered remarks that were strikingly blunt. Bryant described Andrew as a rude, arrogant, and entitled man, engaged in what he called a constant effort at self-promotion and self-enrichment. He also argued that Andrew blurred the line between serving the public interest and advancing his own private interests. Such criticism, now recorded in the official parliamentary record, underscores just how dramatically Andrew's reputation has shifted in recent years. For decades, he was seen as a prominent figure within the royal family, representing British interests around the world. Now, he has become one of the most controversial figures connected to the monarchy. In the midst of the controversy, another intriguing development has emerged. Richard Benyon, the Lord Chamberlain of the royal household, was reportedly seen visiting Andrew at Wood Farm. The meeting is said to have lasted around 2 hours. Royal watchers believe the discussion may have involved Andrew's future position within the monarchy. Currently, the Duke of York remains 8th in the line of succession to the British throne. However, growing speculation suggests there could be increasing pressure to reconsider that status given the ongoing legal troubles and public controversy surrounding him. The consequences may also extend beyond Andrew himself. Reports suggest his daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, have significantly reduced their public appearances in recent months. Some insiders claim their professional and social engagements have been affected by the continuing controversies surrounding their father. There have even been suggestions that certain royal events now involve careful consideration about appearances and associations, reflecting a broader effort to distance the wider royal family from the fallout of Andrew's situation. For a man who once traveled the world representing British trade interests and attending international events as a senior member of the royal family, the contrast is striking. Prince Andrew now finds himself living quietly in a rural farmhouse, largely unseen, under the shadow of an ongoing police investigation. Nearby fields are being fertilized as part of routine estate maintenance. But in the court of public opinion, the symbolism has proven impossible to ignore. Few royal figures in modern history have experienced such a dramatic fall from prominence. For now, the police investigation continues. Prince Andrew has not made any public statements since his arrest, and Buckingham Palace has limited its comments to brief references about ongoing legal processes. Whether this situation fades quietly or develops into something far more serious remains to be seen. But one thing appears certain: the story surrounding the Duke of York is far from over. And as new details continue to emerge, the question remains: how much further could this controversy go?